Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Jayden Bryce Show, the show where we talk about the latest, hottest topics in the world of pop culture and sports. I'm your host, Jayden, and I'm so happy to be with you guys this weekend. It is going to be Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys have a great weekend with friends and family. And everybody's pretty much got Monday off in the corporate world for the majority, so I hope you guys have a good weekend. Y'all know the title of this live stream in this show. I don't have to discuss it anymore. We all know the big news, and normally I would have multiple, topics scheduled for the show, but not today. We have one topic and one topic only, and that is Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. I did not foresee this. Let me go ahead and I got candy in my mouth. Over here got candy knowing I was fixing to get ready to start the show. Now we're good. We're going to get straight to that, and we'll discuss that after I get to a little, take care of some housekeeping stuff. Thank you guys for joining me for today's show. If you guys enjoyed, do not hesitate to hit the like button on my podcast, subscribe to my YouTube channel, check out the podcast on Spotify and Apple, and check out all my videos down below in the description so you can check those out as well for all my sports fans. If you are a pop culture fan, you are clicked on today's podcast. I will not be discussing any pop culture stuff. I know there's a lot of things that went on today regarding the rumors with, I forgot the guy's name. He plays Reacher. And he plays the Reacher in the Reacher series. Is it Adam something? There were some rumors about him, talking to James Gunn about being Batman or whatever. So we've had a couple things in the pop culture realm, but I'm gonna save that for another day. I just got a lot to get off my chest when it pertains to just the Micah Parsons stuff. So yeah, if you're here for that, we are discussing no pop culture things in today's show. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to decompress and talk about something that I would not think I would be talking about ever. So let's get right into it. Micah Parsons. We are talking about a player who was easily my favorite player, arguably on the Dallas Cowboys outside of CeeDee Lamb. Been a Dallas Cowboys fan for 8 years. Seen a lot of good players. Went through Ezekiel Elliott, Zach Martin, Dak Prescott, Dez Bryant, Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. And that's pretty much been my era of star Dallas Cowboy players. Leighton Vander Esch, Jaylon Smith. I had a little love affair with Jaylon Smith for the longest time. But outside of all those players, we drafted a guy in 2021 named Micah Parsons. And who knew with that 12th pick from the Penn State Nittany Lions would turn out to be one of the best players that's put on a Dallas Cowboys jersey in the last 25 plus years, maybe since the Super Bowl run. He was that good. I wasn't covering the draft at the time. I watched it. I remember it. And do I remember his debut? First game, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And he chased Justin Herbert down on a sack. And we looked as a fan base, and I looked as a fan, and I said to myself, he is going to be great. And he is going to be great for a long, long time. Guys, if you're listening, forgive me. I got a couple family members in my house right now, unexpectedly, when I schedule my show. So if you hear any background noise, forgive me for that. I'm so sorry. This was unplanned. I had my show planned at 9:30 originally. I didn't want to film that late because I was somewhere today, and I ended up getting back earlier than I actually anticipated. So I scheduled today's show a whole hour and a half earlier. Then I had some family members to come by unexpectedly. So if you hear any noise in the background, just please forgive me on that front. But that was Micah Parsons. Let's get back to what we were talking about. So that was Micah Parsons. This is a player who has a Hall of Fame type of trajectory. And again, one of the best players who put on a Dallas Cowboys uniform. He was sensational all 4 years he was here. He gave back to the community. He loved Cowboy Nation. He balled out week in and week out. He was competitive and he wanted to win. And he took it 110% his time when he was on the Dallas Cowboys. Before I even dig deep into all that, I just wanted to give a little foreshadow and like a little backstory before we get into the thick and thin of things. I'm happy for Micah Parsons. He deserves every penny. He got 4 years, $188 million, if I'm not mistaken. So that's right at $47 million per year. Crazy number. He deserved it. He deserved every penny. David Mulligetta, everybody, his agent involved, they did an absolute phenomenal job getting him that contract. So yeah, I'm shocked. So without giving all the housekeeping away, I have no ill will against Micah Parsons personally. I've appreciated every single second that he's given to the Dallas Cowboys franchise. And excuse me, I'm trying to find a tweet that I saw earlier about Micah Parsons' contract. So I would be straightened out. Okay, I think we are good to go. But I have no ill will against Micah Parsons. I don't. I'm not one of those who are saying good riddance. I'm appreciative for the time he was here and the contribution that he's made to the Dallas Cowboys, getting us to 3 playoffs, having that stint where we went to 3 playoff seasons. Or was it 2 while he was here? Can't quite remember. But I'm happy for his contribution to the team. And I wish him well in Green Bay. I hope he succeeds. I hope he ends up being able to win a Super Bowl. That's always been his ultimate goal since he's been in Dallas. And I hope he accomplishes that in Green Bay. They do not have the curse like the Dallas Cowboys have. They have been to an NFC Championship game in the last 10 years. They've been to a Super Bowl in the last 15 years. They don't have a 30-year window hanging over their head. So I'm happy for Micah Parsons, and I wish him all well. But let's just get to the gist of everything. Now, let's just dig right deep into everything. Okay. So I have been covering this for the last couple of months. I've been on top of this contract. I've always been on the side of Jerry paid a man. He deserves every penny. You could have got him for a bargain at the time when you tried to negotiate his contract 2 years ago. Before, right around the time when Joey Bosa got his extension, there was conversations regarding getting Micah Parsons his extension at that point. When Joey Bosa signed for $34 million, you could have got Micah Parsons around the 34 range, maybe even 32, because at the time, Joey Bosa was the best edge that you could argue in the game. And then Micah Parsons was steadily behind him. And a lot of people were like, hey, you can get Micah at $32, $33 million. And then just this offseason, we've seen all of these edge rushers get paid. TJ Watt just got $40 plus million. I think it was $41 million from the Steelers. He got a restructured deal. Myles Garrett, he demanded a trade just like Micah Parsons this offseason from the Cleveland Browns. He ended up getting $40 million per year. Max Crosby, I want to say he got 35. Brian Burns, 33. If I'm missing anybody, please let me know in the comments. But those are the names that hit me in the top of the head right off the bat. And I've been on the record. I've said that there's no way he's getting traded. Everybody in the media said that this isn't the same situation like the Dak Prescotts, like the Ezekiel Elliott's, like the Zach Martins, like the CeeDee Lambs, because they never formally requested a trade. They never did. Micah Parsons was the first one to actually request a trade. There hasn't been no drama regarding the agent, about not wanting to talk to the agent, about not wanting to negotiate a deal with the agent. A lot of things that was considered abnormal in the from the historic aspect of Cowboys contracts in the past. So a lot of people said Micah Parsons was different. Although they were saying that, I was always along the line saying it doesn't matter. Micah Parsons is going to get paid because we've seen it time and time again with Jerry Jones. He loves his hometown talent. If anything, he has always took care of the guys that he has drafted. He's been hesitant in free agency, signing anybody outside of free agency. When is the last time Jerry Jones has spent top dollar for an outside person? It hasn't happened in a very long time. Maybe since the Super Bowl run that I can considerably think about. Maybe T.O. That's like the only name that I think can go into mind. And I don't even know. I'm too young to know. I don't know if he paid T.O. any top dollar. I have no idea. But in the last 15, 20 years, it hasn't happened. And then I'm at work yesterday. You know, I haven't planned my show yet. I've had a lot of things to do, homework. So I didn't even think. Like I said, I wasn't going to talk to y'all till Saturday. And I got an article on my phone by Adam Schefter, and it said that the Cowboys were finally listening to trade offers for Micah Parsons after the fact that Jerry Jones has been on the record for the last couple of weeks saying that they're not trading Micah Parsons. It's not going to happen, even when Micah Parsons did announce his formal trade request. And it was written by Adam Schefter, Jeremy Fowler, Todd Archer, everybody at ESPN was on it. They were the first one to release the story. And I even tweeted it out, and I quote tweeted, and it was like, everybody was quick to get on this story because we reacted to it. And I think I still have the tweet here. There was a tweet by this person right here, Mr. Ricky Scoops. And he had this same type of tweet a couple of months ago regarding the Micah Parsons contract stuff. He said that he's going to go to Green Bay. Green Bay's got a trade ready. And I scalped the guy just the other night on Wednesday. I said, this guy is incredible, blah, blah, blah. So I'm eating crow right now with this fella. He was all on top of it. And I'm eating crow right now, just to be quite frank. So yeah, this fella, he was pretty much all on it. And again, I didn't believe it. I didn't think it was going to happen. But lo and behold, 2 hours later, because I remember when I looked at the article, it was in a 2-hour time span. We got the news that Micah Parsons had been traded to the Green Bay Packers. And I can say I was absolutely floored. That news story came out around roughly 3 o'clock Eastern time. I got off of work at 5 Eastern time. I was talking to an old boss of mine, and I looked down on my phone when I was leaving, and I saw the Bleacher Reports, the ESPNs, the alert emojis, everything. Micah Parsons has been traded to Green Bay. I didn't want to believe it. I had to double check it just to make sure I was seeing the right thing. But lo and behold, it was true. Micah Parsons was gone and was no longer a member of the Dallas Cowboys. I wasn't crying. I was floored. I had a homework assignment due last night, and I couldn't even think straight. I kept refreshing Twitter, just trying to get everybody's reaction to it. The Pat McAfees, all the people, Dan Orlovsky, the list just goes on and on and on of people that I follow. All the Cowboys beat writers, Nick Harris, Jane Slater, everyone. I was just waiting just to see, specifically just trying to see what Dallas Cowboys got in return. And they ended up getting 2 first-round picks in the next upcoming drafts for the next couple of years, and Mr. Kenny Clark. But I just couldn't believe it. Knowing the type of player that Micah Parsons was, the contributions that he's made to the team. the historic outlook that he has on his career. All of these things are the reasons why I was shocked. We know the term when it comes to football. We've heard it many a times. You never get rid of a historic pass rusher because they are very hard to find. Granted, we drafted Micah Parsons at the linebacker position, and that is the position he played in week 1 against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers his first year. But he ended up being a heck of an edge rusher and a pass rusher. So now that I've had time to digest it pretty much, so to speak, that you can say, I was floored at first. I was sad. Everything under the sun. But now it's time to have a real conversation. You may go ahead and ask me right off the bat, Jayden, what did you think of the move? At first, I thought it was the stupidest thing the franchise could have ever done. A historic player. Once in a generation type talent. You can argue one of the best top 5 Cowboys to ever put on a uniform in the last 20 years. This is how good this player was. 52.5 sacks in 4 years. All of these things is what Micah Parsons had associated with his name. Multi-time All-Pro. And I don't even want to disrespect this man right now. We are going to look at his All-Pros and Pro Bowls. He's been a Pro Bowler every single year that he's touched the football field. I can say that with absolute assurance. We're not about to disrespect Micah Parsons today. He is officially 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. 2020 AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. Those were the accolades to his name. In consideration for Defensive Player of the Year for many years. This is the type of player we were talking about. And I'm going to get into the GIF stuff with Jerry and things of that nature. We'll get to that. But I just want to just pretty much talk about just that. What do I think of the trade? I would have, and now that I've been able to sleep on this, and I first thought again that it was the worst trade of all time. Given the problems that we have on defense in multiple areas, at the cornerback position, at defensive tackle, at linebacker. If you would have told me maybe a couple of weeks, like back during the draft, let's trade Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks, a player, and maybe like a 2nd or 3rd round pick, I would have probably been on board with it. It would have been the toughest decision to ever make. And I say even at that time, I still probably wouldn't even have the balls to even say, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I probably wouldn't have. This is just how phenomenal of a player this is. But I think I probably would have pulled the trigger. Now, that's not to say it's just because Micah Parsons isn't good enough. Oh, Micah Parsons is good enough. The reason why we are even in this conversation is because of the front office. Let's just go ahead and set that precedent right now. Micah Parsons would still be in a Dallas Cowboys uniform if the front office and player personnel in Will McClay, in Jerry Jones, in Stephen Jones, everyone in the scouting department, if they would have been able to evaluate talent at the defensive tackle position, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. In Will McClay and everyone else involved in the scouting department. player development of player personnel. And I'm not absolutely throwing 100% shade on Will McClay and the guys because they've drafted phenomenal players in the last couple of years. We've had Tyler Smith. We've had Micah Parsons. We've had some guys on Demarion Overshawn. We have had some guys to hit. We have. But they haven't been able to find that guy defensive tackle. We thought it was going to be Mozzie Smith. It hasn't, and it will never be. He's not going to work out. And another person to blame is the front office and GM and Jerry Jones. What move has he made at the defensive tackle position to elevate it? The rumors a couple of seasons ago with Jeffrey Simmons requesting a trade, arguably one of a top 3 best defensive tackle right now in the league. He was available for trade. They didn't try to pick up the phone and call him. Any of the big free agents, which there's not many at a defensive tackle position that were available. We signed no outside defensive tackle free agent. Haven't been able to draft anybody well. So we made our own bed in this situation when it came to Micah. Because if it was any other team, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles, any type of winning organization, if they had a player with the caliber of Micah Parsons and they knew they had problems down in the trenches because Micah is undersized already, he's not your particular, whatever word you would like to use, he's not your usual defensive end. Micah Parsons is fairly undersized at his position already. He's had issues stopping the run his whole time and tenure in Dallas. You've never made it a priority to alleviate that by getting some decent, we've had pretty good edge rushers. We just haven't had any beefy boys down in the middle at the nose tackle position to stop the run. Because every single year when we got in the playoffs, all teams wanted to do was run down our throats. Do we need to go back to the very first playoff series that Micah Parsons was a part of in San Francisco? Do we need to go to the very next time we play San Francisco? Granted, the defense did actually pretty decent job containing the run with Christian McCaffrey and the crew, but they still were averaging almost 4 yards a carry. And don't even get me started about the very next playoff series with the Green Bay Packers, where Aaron Jones and company went wild up in Jerry World. So it's been a problem ever since Micah Parsons was a part of this roster, but yet the front office didn't do anything about it by getting people outside of the organization, outside sources, got no free agents, made no trades. Will McClay, player personnel, they didn't do a super great job evaluating the talent and getting the guy and getting that nose tackle that would alleviate the pain. They didn't get together in the draft, maybe trading up and getting a guy. The Rams just a couple of years ago got 2 in the same draft, if I'm not totally 100% mistaken, in Kobe Turner and the other guy from Florida State. They got 2 phenomenal nose tackles in one draft. Will McClay and everyone in the front office has whiffed on a nose tackle the last 5-6 years. When is, outside of the Micah Parsons era, what is the last great defensive tackle we've had? None that pop off to me off the top of my head. The position has been pathetic for a long time. The Dallas Cowboys made their bed. And us fans who loved Micah Parsons, who really thought we were going to see him in a Cowboys uniform for the next 10 plus years, are sitting here today having to watch him go play for an organization who has owned us for the last 20 years. Do we need to go back to 2014, 2015, or maybe it was 2013, 2014? The Dez Bryant catch. Do I need to go to that game? Arguably should have been the year we should have went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. We had the O-line in their prime for the most part. Zach Martin weren't there yet, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that would have been Micah. I think that was Zach Martin's rookie year. DeMarco Murray in his prime. Like, everything was great. Solid defense. Couldn't get over the hump. What about Dak Prescott's rookie year, 2016? Number 1 seed. Super Bowl favorites. Aaron Rodgers comes into Jerry World. 3rd and 20 or 4th and 20, whatever it was. Throws that 23-yard pass to James Cook. Right over Byron Jones's head. Toe drag swag. Game-winning field goal. And don't even get me started about 2 years ago, when rookie quarterback Jordan Love, first year at the helm as a Green Bay Packer quarterback, all the questions about him. Is he going to be the necessary successor for Aaron Rodgers? Is he the guy? All these question marks. And he looked like the second coming of Joe Montana in your own arena. That's the team you traded him to. Am I a little salty about that? Absolutely. Any other team, you always want to do right by the player. I think it would have been disrespectful just to send Micah Parsons somewhere where he didn't want to go. Send him to a team who isn't a title contender. I believe that would have been a little disrespectful. But anybody but the cheeseheads. And now what? You have a team in the Green Bay Packers who are getting ready to contend for a Super Bowl. And then you have a team in the Dallas Cowboys who are questioning if they are even going to make the playoffs. That is the two sides to this story. So it is the front office's fault to why we even got here to this conversation. Now let's get to the real story. What about just this overall situation? Supposedly, Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons had a handshake deal back in March. Jerry Jones was prepped to make Micah Parsons the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. I do not know the exact number for sure. I just know this is what was reported. And this is coming from a lot of credible sources. And I'm going to do the numbers just to make sure. But Jerry Jones tried to negotiate a 5-year, $202.5 million deal with Micah. Wait, does that say? Without his agent involved. Correct. The 5-year would have kept Dallas in control of Parsons for the next 6 years. Something agents strongly advise against, since it makes it difficult for them to secure another contract. And this is something that Jerry Jones has been famous for. Jerry Jones will screw you over on a deal. Jerry Jones loves these 5-year deals. Loves them. We know in the NFL, in the current NFL landscape when it comes to contracts, you never, and I say never, see a player sign for more than 4 years. Even when they get an extension, that extension is normally 2 or 3 years. You never see players sign 5-year contracts because what people in the media and people who analyze this stuff said in that tweet. Agents advise against it because it is hard to get a second contract. You get your rookie deal. You're there for 4 to 5 years. In Micah Parsons' case, he's going on year 5. He's 26 years old. If he would have signed that five-year extension, he's there for another 6 years. He's 32 years old. Edge rusher. What is the likelihood of him getting another good contract? Because everything we know in the NFL at that position is downhill at a certain age. Once you get to 32 years old, in Micah's case, who knows? So, of course, David Mulgeta and Micah Parsons' representation were totally against that. Rightfully so. Micah Parsons at 24 should have got a 4-year deal max, tying him to us for maybe the next 4 or 5 years. And then he would have been in conversation to be up for another contract once he turns 30 years old. So did Jerry Jones try to screw over Micah Parsons? Yeah, he did. With the numbers, let me do the math. That was exactly at $40 million a year. That was the number back in March. So at the time, Myles Garrett and TJ Watt weren't signed. So this actually would have been, yeah, he would have been the highest paid. But then as of this morning, I don't have the tweet saved, but I know people, the guys on 105.3 The Fan, shout out to them. They cover the Dallas Cowboys. They are actually reporting that, I don't know the exact timeline, but at some point in the last couple of weeks, and I think it may have been the last time they negotiated, until Jerry Jones just said, I'm good, we're not talking anymore. Reportedly, the Cowboys obviously made an offer that would have gave Micah Parsons $46 million. Now, again, I can't go back and check to make sure that was if that is exactly what they were trying to say, but I'm 100% sure. I remember the number when I saw it earlier today when they were having this conversation. Reportedly, and this is coming from insiders this isn't a Ian Rappaport type report, Adam Schefter, Jeremy Fowler, Tom Pelissero, none of these guys. Okay, so this is just inside just rumor going around the Dallas Cowboys media space, Frisco, Texas, right now in Fort Worth. People who cover the Cowboys are reportedly saying that Jerry Jones offered a contract for Micah Parsons for roughly $46 million. And the Green Bay Packers, well, not the Green Bay Packers, but Micah Parsons and them didn't go for that. And that obviously, I guess, may have been the reason why Jerry Jones got pretty much triggered and pretty much was salty and said, we're not discussing this contract no more. And said pretty much, and Jerry Jones confirmed this to be true, play on your 5th year or you're gone. I don't know why Micah didn't agree to it. I don't know if it had something to do with the guaranteed. Obviously, there's probably something tricky going on with that contract, and I don't know exactly what it is. I'm looking right now just to make sure if I can get like a confirmation just to make sure about that. I can't find it, but I remember seeing it because they were discussing it this morning on 105.3 The Fan, and it was a clip, and I cannot find it, but I know for certain that's what they were talking about. I think they might have deleted it by now because maybe it's not true. So take with that information as you will. So that's where we're at. This it was a fishy situation to begin with because you didn't want to talk to the guy's agent. The guy hires an agent to discuss his contract so he can get the best outcome of money that he can get for his family. There was a video that surfaced today. Micah Parsons was celebrating with his mom. Obviously, he quote unquote retired his mom today. I didn't even know she was still working. I don't know if that was just a publicity stunt or anything, but if it is true, happy for that, getting to retire his mom. I think Micah's got 2 or 3 kids now, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just had one. He and his girlfriend or wife, whoever she is to him in relationship, they just had another child. I don't know if that's his second or his third one, but the man's got a family to take care for. And that's the reason why he was wanting his money. And we all saw the clip of him, and I know we can probably find it here. Micah Parsons was very happy. He was very happy to get his money. Let's see if we can find it right here. I remember Jordan Schultz actually reposted this. Jordan Schultz has been all on this all day pretty much. And yep, here we go. So I'm going to let you guys look at it. Let me turn it off on my end. I know you guys will probably probably won't be able to hear it, but here's the video of Micah Parsons pretty much happy about his contract. I don't know why this is still wanting to. Here he is jumping around. That back looks great. The back looks good. He was singing to the famous Ride the Wave song, I'm Richer Than I've Ever Been. So this is the video he released yesterday, reacting to his new deal, getting 40, was it 48 million? I might be wrong. Was it 48 million here? Or 47? I think it was 47. Whatever. He's the highest paid non-QB in the history of the NFL. So, this is where we're at. I never thought it would happen. We're here. And now we're going to discuss it for the future of the Dallas Cowboys. And, well, let me just make another comment about this as well. If you guys were watching that press conference yesterday, I think us all Cowboys fans can speak for everyone. Can we not let Jerry Jones have another press conference? Jerry Jones does not need to hold a microphone. The man can't even get Micah's name right. He keeps calling him Michael. It's embarrassing. Everyone was watching. I looked on Twitter. I was in the live stream. There was 22,000 people watching at one point. That was before the actual stream even started. Who knows how many was actually watching by time the full thing was live, because they scheduled the press conference at 7:30 Eastern time. I don't think they went live to almost 7:50. So it was a 20-minute layover before they actually went live when they actually scheduled the press conference. But I can speak for everyone and say that do not let Jerry Jones on another microphone. I'm not going to get to the logistics of things. I think I'm going to save that for a later podcast when it comes to the things that Jerry Jones said in the press conference, because I think I'm going to do a watch with y'all and just actually react to it and give my 2 cents on it. So we'll save that for that. But let's just get to the Packers things point of view. And I was discussing this with my dad over dinner. The Packers, with this move, believe that they can win with Jordan Love. That is wait to be seen for me, because, again, I have never been infatuated with Jordan Love. I remember when he was first threw onto the field against the Philadelphia Eagles that game. Back when Aaron Rodgers, I believe Aaron Rodgers got hurt or whatever. I cannot quite remember 100% fully. But I was, he made that one drive, got his touchdown. I was like, man, Jordan Love actually might be good. But since then, even when he beat us in the playoffs, I'm not 100% sold. I got to see more. I've been the same way with Brock Purdy. 1 year wonder type thing. I got to see it. Again, granted, the Packers went 11-6 last year. They were still pretty good. And at that time, Jordan Love actually missed a couple of games. So they are betting on Jordan Love to take them to the promised land. Rightfully so, because this is an all-in move. This is what Jerry Jones classifies as an all-in move. Jerry Jones takes some notes. Brian Gutekunst and the guys, Matt LaFleur, this is an all-in move. You got your quarterback. You believe he is the guy to get you to the promised land. You have a very young team. The Packers right now, even with the inclusion of Micah Parsons, is the youngest team in the NFL by a long shot. They have drafted, they have developed, they've signed some young guys, free agency, Xavier McKinney at the free safety position. They got a lot of good guys who are it's a pretty darn good roster. Luke Van Ness is right now, he's a good, solid player. He's about to be their he's pretty much their third string pass rusher. He's pretty much going to be on the bench waiting for somebody, either Rashawn Gary or Micah Parsons, to get gassed, tap their head, come get me. He's going to be the next guy in. He's not even their premier pass rusher right now anymore. That's how deep and talented this team is. From the defensive side of the ball, they're thin at cornerback. That is going to be their liability because they do not have Jair Alexander anymore. You don't have Rasul Douglas. I really since Jair Alexander was there, the last cornerback that was there, I really do not even know who their cornerbacks were. That is how thin they are at cornerback. I don't know the Nixon kid. I think he plays safety. Quay Walker at linebacker. They have a good linebacking core. You got Rashawn Gary now alongside Micah Parsons. R.I.P. to J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams. Jared Goff as well. Have fun with that over there up in the NFC North. Good luck, specifically when you have to go to Lambeau Field with that crowd, that fan base, both of them feeding off of that. Have fun. I'll say my prayers for you. But you have that. That is the defensive side of the ball. Now on offense, Jordan Love, what are you going to do? You have Josh Jacobs at the running back position. You just drafted your first wide receiver, the Packers did. And when? I don't even remember. It's been a very long time since the Packers have drafted a wide receiver in the first round. You got the stud wide receiver out of Texas in Matthew Golden. You got Romeo Doubs. You got Jayden Reed. You got all these young guys at the wide receiver position and a wide receiving group that showed a lot of promise. Now you have Christian Watson. He's going to be out for the year, I think, because I think he tore his ACL, so he's not going to be available this year. But you got Matthew Golden for that position. Have that. You have the tight end, Tucker Kraft. You have him at the tight end position. And then you have the guy coming behind him as well. I think he's the tight end from Iowa. I don't know his name. Normally I don't do this. I know all this stuff from the top of my head. Is Tucker, because Tucker Kraft was the backup at one point. Is it Musgrave? That's the name I got on the top of my head right now. Yeah, Musgrave. Yeah, you got Luke Musgrave. Got a pretty decent offensive line. So this team is primed and ready to make a run. And you need to do it in the next couple of years. In a NFC North that is very, very stacked. We see what Caleb Williams and everybody is trying to do up there in Chicago with Ben Johnson. That team that they're trying to set, they've looked phenomenal in the preseason. They are going to be one of my favorite teams to watch leading up to the regular season next week. And even all throughout the season. Jared Goff, another team, you can say that they pretty much missed out on a prime opportunity to cash in a chance to win a Super Bowl just a couple of years ago when they decided instead of wanting to pass, instead of wanting to run the football with that two-headed monster, Sonic and Knuckles over there, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they decided they wanted to get pass happy and throw the game away to the 49ers. So they might have missed out on a prime opportunity because they do not have Aaron Glenn no more at defensive coordinator. They do not have Ben Johnson calling plays. Aiden Hutchinson's hurt. So, who knows if they missed out on their opportunity. You got the Minnesota Vikings with J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson. That's a no sneeze up there either. They're young. So it's going to be a battle up there in the NFC North. It's going to be tough for the Packers. I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, so to speak. Well, granted, I've got their depth chart up here. Let's look at their schedule. Week 1, they are against Detroit at Lambeau. They got Washington. They're at Cleveland. So let's just go here. Let's do a little prediction real quick. They're going to beat Detroit week 1. I think they're going to beat Washington. They're going to beat Cleveland, of course. They're going to beat Dallas. They're not going to go 6-7-0 to start off the season. That's not happening. They're losing one of these games. Well, not 7-0. What am I talking about? I'm over here looking at the preseason games. So, through 5 weeks, through 9 weeks, you can say they could possibly go 7-2 at worst, maybe. They got a very favorable schedule. Philly, that's a loss. They'll beat New York. They'll trade off these games with Minnesota. They'll trade these games with Detroit. Yeah. This is a very favorable schedule for them. Outside of their division games, the only tough game they really have is going to be Baltimore and Philadelphia. They're going to beat Pittsburgh. They're going to beat Arizona. They're going to beat Dallas. They're going to beat Washington. They're going to beat Cleveland. So their schedule is pretty favorable. So whatever aspirations they have and have set for themselves, they are going to absolutely be able to do that. They can get the number 1 seed. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Bears got a brutal schedule. So they're going to be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish. It's just a matter of fact what they do in the playoffs. So Jordan Love and the guys is going to have to be able to do it. Now let's just move on to the Dallas Cowboys side of things. We can have a long conversation about this one, okay? So compensation-wise, we got Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks for the next couple of years. I discussed earlier, this move would have made sense if you done it pre-draft. Got some more picks than what you got, and possibly would have hit on some of this talent that was in this past draft. Granted, it wasn't the most talented draft. You possibly could have got you a running back, the Marion Hamptons, Ashton Jeanty, somebody who, people were mocking you to get at the running back position, but, lo and behold, you probably weren't going to do that. You could have got one of these wide receivers that were in this draft because we knew you were going to get Ted McMillan. You wouldn't have had to have got George Pickens. So there's a lot of things that could have happened if you would have traded Micah Parsons before the draft. Even could have got a defensive tackle because I think defensive tackle that was pretty good out of Ole Miss. I think he went to the Falcons or whatever. So, you could have got you somebody that you would have liked. Even Mason Graham, you never know. But now that we can say we got Kenny Clark now, we have that guy who can possibly help the run game. He's not going to be the solution. Everybody on Twitter just sitting here and thinking, even Jerry Jones himself, we'll talk about it in another episode of the show, but now Jerry Jones thinks now that he's got Kenny Clark, all problems is solved with the run game. Sorry, Jerry, it takes 2 to tango. Kenny Clark himself cannot be the only solution to solving the run game. One guy isn't going to cut it. It's got to be a collective effort. It's a team type dynamic. So at least we got a seasoned vet at the nose tackle position. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He just made the Pro Bowl back in 2023. He did not have a good year last year. I know everyone's talking about it on social media right now, but we have to be fair. He injured his toe in the very first game of the season. That is what we're talking about. So we got to give just him some grace. Now, if he comes up this season and stinks it up for us, then we're going to have a lot of problems. But I think Kenny Clark is going to fit in very well. And I think he is going to be able to feed off of everyone on the defense, that young defensive line. Donovan Ezaraku, Sam Williams, James Houston, Dante Fowler, Joy Toya, maybe even coach up, get a leadership role going with Mozzie Smith. There's a lot of avenues we can take with this conversation because he may be addition by subtraction. We never know. Now, with the first round picks the next couple of years, I know everyone's making a big deal about it. You're making a trade with the Green Bay Packers, so obviously that pick is going to be in the 20s at best. At best. At worst, it's going to be at 30s if they win the Super Bowl or go to an NFC Championship game. So that's something to think about as well. And I know I saw somebody tweet out today, and I just said it, discussed with my dad earlier. Someone made the comment like, yeah, one of those picks turned out to be J.J. Watt. He was the 30th overall pick a couple of years ago back in 2017. Yeah, it's very rare to find a J.J. Watt. Given how the Cowboys have drafted using their first-round picks, I'm not betting on them hitting on a player like T.J. Watt. But let's give some, just get some options right here. I would be totally in love with this if we didn't have Dak Prescott. Because I'm a firm believer, you stack these picks up and you go get you a quarterback. You could get you someone like Arch Manning or any type of these quarterbacks. And granted, I don't keep up with this stuff, but all these draft experts, they're going around and pretty much saying this is one of the best, these next upcoming drafts is going to be the best draft class in a while. Todd McShay, a lot of these guys do this for a living. Not even only at the quarterback position, the cornerbacks, edge rushers, wide receivers, like it's going to be a deep draft for the next couple of years. So that's a positive for me because you can use these draft picks. So you're going to have 4 first-round draft picks for the next 2 years. You can trade up, get a guy that you like in that first. You can use those picks to do this. So you got a lot of versatility to do with these picks. Now, how do you address the positions with these picks? You're obviously going to get you a defensive tackle. You're going to draft an edge rusher. You're going to get a linebacker. And you're going to get a safety. Those are your priorities, in my opinion. I think the first should possibly be the linebacker position. We're just going to have to wait to see how Kenneth Murray and just how the season lays out before we even have these type of discussions, because it's really too early to get ahead of us to say, Kenny Clark actually might be pretty darn good alongside Osa Odigizua. So we could wait and just see what that tandem looks like and be able to address positions accordingly. And we don't know what Trayvon Diggs is going to look like. Are we going to need another cornerback? Are you going to re-sign Deron Bland? All this cap money that we freed up with Micah Parsons, we have the second most cap space in the league now with $43 million or $42 million roughly. So there's a whole lot of variables that go into this. But I am a firm believer with the draft picks. I think you load up those draft picks if you want to go out and get that quarterback that you want to get. At the present moment, the Dallas Cowboys have their quarterback for the next 4 years. Maybe you get Arch Manning, which I think the Dallas Cowboys should do. Get that quarterback and let him sit. Let him be Dak's replacement. I think you should do that. And I'm telling you right now, this is Dak's last run. Dak Prescott, I know I even said it. I haven't said it live, but I've said it in just regular conversations. This is Dak Prescott. I've said it in the past. His last contract was his last hurrah with Dallas. This 100% is Dak Prescott's last hurrah with Dallas. He's 30 years old. He's going to be 34 years of age, especially in the next 4 years. We maybe even go to the playoffs one time. Who knows? There's a lot of variables. I don't even want to discuss this, but who knows about Jerry Jones's mortality in the next 4 years? I don't know. I don't want to speak on that. That's a little too negative for me. I'm just throwing out some variables here, guys. We're just trying to have a conversation. We just got to be truthful. If Dak doesn't get the job done in the next 4 years, I do not see a reason why, as an organization, you can just sit and tell yourself we can wait. There's no waiting. He's just not the guy. Move on. Get the quarterback in the next couple of years that you want and that is going to be able to succeed Dak. That's what you do with those picks. And I think it was a just mad con. The pros and the cons. The pros, we get the picks. We got a nose tackle. I'm fine with that. The con is I think you should have at least got an extra pick. 2 firsts and that's it for Micah Parsons. That's just 2 firsts and a player, and that player could have obviously been a 3rd-round pick. The equal is equal of a 3rd-round pick. I think they should have got at least another 2nd-round pick. The Packers would have gave it, but this is where we're at, guys. This is Dallas's future. First game of the week is next week, and this is another reason why they rushed this whole process. I feel like and I had this conversation earlier this morning with my girlfriend. We were just talking. She was consulting me because she thought I was sad or whatever for the Micah Parsons trade, which I was sad. But a thing for me that really hit home is like, you should have treated Micah Parsons like a bidding war. And I know you wanted to get this resolved for culture reasons, get it out of the organization, let it go a week before the game so we can just concentrate on the Eagles. I get it. But still, you should have lotteried off Micah Parsons. Literally, I don't even know if this is considered tampering or not. I'm not 100% sure. But literally, you can get offers from teams. For example, the 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, what you got from Green Bay. Okay. Go to San Francisco or whoever else was, I think San Francisco was reportedly a team who was in on this as well. Go to San Francisco, get on the phone, be like, hey, The Packers just offered me 2 first-round picks and a player. And Kenny, you a Pro Bowl caliber player. What can you offer me? Shoot, they would have probably gave you 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks, and a second-round pick. You never know. I thought Jerry Jones in the front office, again, front office malpractice. This is Dallas Cowboys 101 out there in Jerry World. I thought you should have lotteried off Micah Parsons. Because, I mean, Jesus, he's arguably the best player he's the best defensive player in the league, you can argue. That is the type of player who we're talking about here. He's no snob. He's not a jag. And that is an acronym for just a guy. He's not just a guy. So that was just front office organization malpractice. So who knows? This may turn out to be one of the best situations. I don't want to consider this the Herschel Walker trade. It's not even remotely close. You know, the chances of you turning, you know, the all of them picks that you got into Emmitt Smith and all these other players, and you end up winning the Super Bowl, it's slimmer than none. We're not trying to revisit history here. It's not the Herschel Walker trade. It's not even close. The only way that this turns out a positive for either team is if the Packers win a Super Bowl. The Packers have to win a Super Bowl. This is an all-in move. And the only way it works out for Dallas is if those 2 first-round picks become pretty good players. One, and I said this earlier today, one of those players has to become an all-pro type player, I believe. And the other one can be, like, pretty good. As long as he's not Mizey Smith type bad, it's totally fine. But, yeah. That's pretty much all I have today, ladies and gentlemen. There's some other underlying issues as well. There's a report by Albert Breer that came out earlier about the podcast thing with Micah Parsons. We'll get into all that another day. I just wanted to give my initial reactions, initial thoughts, and things of that nature. You know, just wanted to have a conversation, and I know you guys are pretty much waiting to see how I felt about this. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. I even have Micah Parsons' jersey. No, I'm not selling it. I'm not one of those fans. Micah Parsons was one of the best players in my generation that I've watched as a Dallas Cowboy, and I will keep his jersey for the rest of my life. I'll collect it and, you know, hold on to that memory of a great player that I watched as a kid. And I can look back on that 30 years later, and whenever Micah Parsons is inducted into the Hall of Fame, because he is going to be in the Hall of Fame. I promise you that. Unless if something totally goes bad with an injury or whatever, we don't wish that. But Micah Parsons is going to be a Hall of Famer. First ballot, easily. So that's where we're at, and those are my thoughts. I've been talking about this for a whole hour now almost, so I could sit here and talk about it more, but yeah, that is my thoughts on that. Thank you, Micah Parsons, for everything that you've done for the organization. You're going to be greatly missed, and I wish you nothing but success in Green Bay. I'm happy you got your money, you know, providing for the family. That's the ultimate goal. It's all about the love of the game, but you got to get your money, take care of your family. We cannot bash that, and we're totally 100% supportive of that. But ladies and gentlemen, you have reached the end of the show, and I'm gonna get with you guys maybe Monday night. I hope you guys enjoy your Labor Day. Should be Monday. If I don't get with you guys, it will be Tuesday night for sure. But I hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy some time with your family and friends on Labor Day. Enjoy your weekend off from work. Big 3-day weekend for most people. I know for me, I'm probably going to enjoy me a good old round of golf on Monday. But guys, I will see you guys more than likely on Monday night. Going to have a couple things. Go ahead and write some things up for you guys to discuss. We're going to get to some pop culture thing as well for all my pop culture fans. I know Alan Richardson, that's his name. It just came to me. But there's been on some news about him today, so we can possibly discuss him. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning into tonight's show. Very late notice. I told you guys I would be recording on Saturday, but I had to get to this. I did not think this was going to be even in play this week. If any news regarding Micah Parsons, I thought it was going to be news that Micah Parsons has accepted a contract extension by the Dallas Cowboys, but that didn't seem to be the case. So if you guys enjoyed the podcast, do not hesitate to hit the like on the podcast. Follow my podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe and be part of the family. Check out my videos down below in the description as well. I love you guys so much. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.